or maybe even a closer look is your TR career on target? Now, this is designed for those people who are either in the field already or just trying to get in the field. The idea is to kind of reassess or reevaluate what is going on with your career, especially in times when the job market might be a little insecure, or things are going on at your job. I just have a few slides to get you to think about what you should be doing, what you could be doing, and how to secure your position. So sit back, enjoy the slides, and I will try to talk you through this. How to never be jobless again. I like this meme for the basic fact that it kind of looks at the 6 important areas or recommended areas to look at. You know, try to have a relevant skill, have something that you're really good at that kind of can secure your job. So, for example, if you're good at gardening, or you're good at dancing, or good at singing, show those skills, display them, kind of tap into them and make them part of who you are and what you do at your job. Building a digital portfolio, that just means be ready. Be ready for anything. You might need your resume, so keep that up to date. Make yourself visible. It's saying to do it on a lot of the business websites, but I would say just keep yourself visible everywhere. Professionally, with all our professional organizations, local, state, the idea is to keep your name out there so people know who you are. And yes, start networking, get to conferences, join a committee. You want to be in a position that people can find you and know where to find you and know who you are and know what your skills are and what population you're best at or you're good at. Always work on your relationships, keep them positive, keep your professional friendships open and alive by talking to friends, send emails, drop just once in a while, just keep the connection. And obviously focus on adding value to who you are and what you're all about. And that means like look into maybe some classes or some certifications or even some certificate programs that you can put on your resume. But let's take a look at some more slides, and hopefully this will explain it just a little bit in a little more detail. Okay, I put this slide up pretty early because I really want you to think about the job analysis. Why do I want you to think about the job analysis? Well, the NCTRC scope of practice is really our map, our roadmap of what we should be doing and what we could be doing. Okay, it's really funny because occupational therapists talk about their scope of practice, and they make it well known what they're not going to do and what they are going to do and what they can do and what they should do. And I think we should kind of get in the habit of talking about it more and reminding people that we do have a scope of practice. So, we shouldn't be taking care of bedpans and feeding people, whatever. Let me kind of put a disclaimer in this, is that I'm not telling you not to listen to your boss or follow agency requirements or whatever. I don't want you to lose your job by saying I'm not going to do that, but I definitely think you should know what your responsibilities are and what your guidelines are. And I didn't look at this until about maybe 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I didn't know even had a scope of practice. And NCTRC puts one out, and it's really based on the job analysis. Okay, so if you haven't looked at the job analysis in a while, there's a lot of things on there. And if you're working at a place that say, oh, we just need you to do programming, you don't need to do documentation, I would kind of like question that and think about, well, if that's really what they're about, is that what you want to be about? Yes, it's a job. I'm not saying to leave your job, but definitely, kind of like find out what is TR really all about. I think we get stuck doing things that we don't want to do, that aren't in our job description. That the person before you is doing it, so everybody expects you to do it. And I think you should just know what it is that a TR should be doing. Now, you might have been in the field 10, 15, 20 years, I don't know, and been doing a great job. And I'm not, enjoy, have a good time, have a good career. I'm just saying, if you're wondering if your job is secure or not, it's a good time to look at what you can be doing, what you should be doing, and what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? So I put this slide here for that reason, to get you to think about what is your scope of practice. Okay, so in this presentation, what I hope to do is look at the 2021 workplace. I want to discuss a little bit about the 4 strategies to kind of bulletproof your job, secure your job, strategies and behaviors you should adopt, long-term maintenance of your career, and specific to your job related challenges. Okay. The 2021 workplace. Well, it's really not a democracy. We don't get to vote on what we want. Nothing is fair about how work works. So you need to make yourself, a positive influence at your job. You need to make yourself a likable person at your job. You need to make yourself someone who is visible and is a team player. Okay, so that people will want to work with you. That you're not the difficult person or the person that they can't find or can't rely on. So let's think about it. If you don't click with your boss, you won't get far in your job. You don't have to love your boss or have a great relationship, but you need to have a relationship, and it should be a positive one. So I asked the question: does your boss like you and respect you? Think about that for a moment. And if not, what can you do differently? And if so, how can you build on that? I put this slide in from ATRA, the American Therapeutic Recreation Association. We have a code of ethics. And when I joined ATRA, I didn't even know we had a code of ethics. I know when I took the test back in 1991, they made reference to it on the exam, but I didn't read any of it until I became a member years later, and got the really awesome handout, the flyer for it, and I laminated it, and it's on my bulletin board. So I do look at it pretty regularly because I think it is something relevant that we need to know and recognize what are our professional ethics to our profession and our career. There's some interesting stuff there, guys, that I think we need to be aware of and believe in, to kind of give us some, not just direction, but give us some credibility, I guess, of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Of course, I also put in here the standards. ATRA has a standards of care, and there are 10 code of ethics and 12 standards of care. I don't think you have to have these memorized, but if you never looked at it, I would look at these. These are the things. It's really clear that it's API. It's It's looking at, doing the assessment and the planning and implementation, documentation, the whole bit. But it really kind of spells it out so that you should believe that these are the things you should be doing and be standing behind, and not all the other things that we get wrapped up in. Sometimes we make our newsletter and our statistic paperwork more important than really giving good treatment and really working well with patients, where we do all the other things that I'm not saying don't do, but make sure you're doing TR work. You know, um, if you want the respect of a TR, then we need to make sure that people know what TR is about, and we need to make sure we're doing it. So I would look this over, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I want you to know that there, ATRA puts it out. That is our only national organization that I think we should be supporting and talking about and getting recognized for all they do for us. And uh, they're pretty amazing. If you don't know much about them, I would definitely do a little more research, because ATRA, I'm sure I know you've heard of them, but does anybody really belong to them, follow them, read any of their newsletters, or go to their website? I'm telling you, they're really their whole philosophy is to empower the rec therapist. What other organization comes out and says that? You know, so why don't we stand behind, put our energy and our resources behind an organization that wants to empower us? Okay, so that's my sales pitch. I get no commission from ATRA. I just really believe in them, and I'm hoping to spread the word and share the good things they do for us. They have legal services that we don't have available to us in our little local and state organizations. So if we need any advice or information or lobbying or anything, they do a lot of things, and a lot of educational programs, and they're definitely behind getting rec therapists in schools and trying to educate people about how to do that. Um, and it's all like any of the small local organizations and the state organizations. It's all voluntary. I think the only person paid is the secretary at the place, the lawyer, and I think they just started paying the director. But if you're wondering where your money goes, it's really going into advocating for you, the rec therapist. So I would encourage you to support them. Okay, so in a strong economy, um, we should be thinking about how to get a better job. Is it time for me to be moving on? Is the grass greener someplace else? Should I should I be moving on? I've been here long enough, and I want to make more money. That's kind of what goes through people's minds. But in a weak economy, we should be thinking about, gee, they're doing a lot of layoffs. Excuse me. They're doing a lot of layoffs, or the market's not that great, and the economy's not that great, and will I have a job tomorrow? These are things that you need to think about, but not worry too much about. You should just be aware of that. What is that the climate for the workplace in 2021? I think we're in flux. Personally, I think there's a lot going on all around us. I think windows and doors and opportunities are going to be opening, and I think we could be in a good position to be looking around and moving upward and onward. The potential is there because of what's happening with the pandemic and all. Things are looking a little bit better. The stock market and all is looking better. So I think we're working towards a strong economy, but I think we need to be preparing ourselves for whatever the economy is. If you're trying to hold on to your job, or you're trying to move on and look on to a better job. Because basically your job is your most valuable asset. So you should really work harder to protect it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about 4 simple strategies that I think you should potentially use or at least be aware of. And they are to be visible, be easy, be useful, and be ready. And I'll go into a little more explanation about that. I think that you should practice all four at all times. Many tactics will be presented under each strategy, okay? So hopefully they will raise your awareness and change your behaviors and make them permanent work habits. And of course, some are much more easier than others to follow or to do, but just be aware of them. I think it will be at least a step in the right direction of are you doing it or can you do it? Okay, so being visible. Um, if your boss does not see you or know who you are, you're very easy to be let go. Okay, with that attitude of you're out of sight, you're out of mind. And I'm not just talking about necessarily your immediate boss, but your boss's boss, and maybe even the one above that. Do they know that you're part of a team? Sometimes the quiet person who squeaks by all the time isn't really where you need to be or want to be right now. Maybe you need to raise your profile. Okay, that might mean like joining a committee. You know, making suggestions, being involved in your department. Okay, um, it does not mean that you need to pull all-nighters, but maybe arrive a little early, leave a little later, be involved with your coworkers, okay? Because the bottom line is the invisible employer is the first to go. So you want to make yourself, a valuable asset and your name to be something that they should be aware of. Um, okay, be visible, arrive early, and stay late. I'm sorry about the layout of this. I thought I cleaned it up, and it still seems to be um, not lined up right. But that's what it says. Be visible, arrive early, stay late. So show up early, earlier than your boss. Maybe just 5 minutes early. And I would do that on someone on a consistent basis, maybe like once or twice a week, so that it gets stuck in their mind that yeah, you're here early. You're the one who arrives, uh, maybe doesn't set up the coffee. I'm not saying you have to do anything specific, but you're the one there ready to work. Okay, it shows that you're taking your job seriously and you're a committed employee. So arrive to meetings a little early as well, because you want the rest of the treatment team to know who you are and that you're that type of person, that you're dedicated to your job, so you're there ready to get to work. Don't be a martyr about it. Just do it quietly. Um, I'm not saying to stay late, just stay later. So every once in a while, try to stay 5 minutes, 10 minutes overtime, so it's seen that you're still there. I'm not saying be on your phone and play video games or anything like that. I'm saying be at your desk and, try to wrap things up. Finish maybe just straightening up your desk or returning phone calls or reading emails, something that's going to be quick and easy to step away when you want to go. But I'd say a few minutes late if you can. I think that shows a commitment to your job, because you don't want to be seen as the I'm out of here kind of employee, right? So again, looking at being visible, arrive early and staying late attitude. When you think about vacations, just be aware when the different agencies that come in to assess you and to evaluate you, you want to make sure you're not planning your time when they're there. There are people that actually do that. Jaco is visiting in July. Well, I'm going to Disney in July. And your boss might even approve it, but you're going to be looked at as that person who's not here when they need you. So just try to be aware of your planning. Sometimes you can't control it. Sometimes that's when your partner could get off, or that's when you get the best deal on the flights. I understand. I'm just saying, be aware of your vacation timing. You want to be that valuable employee, right? So try to space your vacations out so it doesn't look like you're taking 3 weeks in a row, or a lot of time at one time, and make sure you're requesting your time off well in advance, which I'm sure many of us are doing, but these are just little reminders. When you think about your sick time, of course, stay home when you're sick. No one needs you hacking, coughing, not feeling well, moaning, groaning, or whatever happens when you're not feeling well. Stay home. You're sick. Use your time. Um, but keep in mind to make whatever effort you can to get to work, to do work. Okay. Um, if you don't have a blazing fever, a hacking cough, diarrhea, or throw-ups, go to work. And be careful at mental health days. Very quick story. I had a friend who doesn't work in the business, doesn't do what we do. He's a banker. And another friend who doesn't work in the business was encouraging him to use mental health day. And the funny thing is that that bank, or maybe the bank institution, just doesn't believe in mental health days. So that was not really smart to tell the person to ask for a mental health day. Um, um, so just be aware of your agency and what the protocol is, what you're doing. If you need a mental health day, I strongly encourage you. You need to be on your game. You need to be healthy and refreshed and ready to work. So if you think you need one, definitely use them, but don't abuse them, I guess, is what I want to try to focus on. Be aware of how many you're taking and how often you take them. And the idea is to hold on to your job when it's a poor economy, when things aren't looking so good. So um, be visible, look good. The way you dress sends a message that you are serious about your job. I have to tell you that we have some not necessarily in our department of the activities department of recreational therapists, and we have occupational therapists, music therapists, and an art therapist. We all pretty much dress pretty professionally, but every once in a while you see people coming in these really I'm going out to dance, or I'm on my way to the beach outfits, and I don't know. I think it's very noticeable, and I hear the gossip of right to the person. Oh, look at you! Don't you look cute in that nice outfit? Or look at you! You look so casual. Well, if your coworkers and friends are saying it, what do you think the bosses are saying? You want to be aware of how you dress and how you look, and are you coming across as a professional employee, ready to work in 10 meetings? And if you were to be inspected that day, are you ready to be part of the inspection? Or are you the one that they're going to send home to go change or whatever? So just be aware. Um, we want to be part of the professional team. We should look like part of the professional team. I identified a few wardrobe mishaps or mistakes people make. Obviously, the reveal in clothing. It happens in every discipline: nursing, doctors, social work, recreational therapists. I think because we're recreational therapists, we tend to be a little more creative and maybe a little more stylish in our clothing. But stylish doesn't mean it has to be revealing or too short, too tight, too anything. No one wants to see our undergarments. Undergarments. I sound like an old person, right? No one wants to see. Um, you know, you should look clean, neat, and professional. So you don't want to be wearing poorly fitting clothing. You don't want things to be wrinkled. You want to be aware of how you present yourself. You want it to be age appropriate, whatever that means. I'm not even sure anymore what is age appropriate clothing, but you don't want it to be where you're making a scene at your job. You want to fit in as part of the treatment team. Right now, I'm noticing at Stony Brook, a lot of the young nurses, female nurses, they're wearing these eyelashes. And I got to tell you, I hear a lot of people talking about them, and the message isn't all that good. Some people saying, "What are we at the circus? Don't they look silly? What's that all about?" There's nothing really positive that I'm hearing about it. I just think you should be aware of how you look. I haven't really noticed if any rec therapists are doing it, at least not yet. But it really actually looks quite silly. Personally, that's just my opinion. But you don't want your boss talking negative about you, or you don't want any reports about how you're dressed or looking. So you want to fit in the best you can at this time. This is not a time to make a fashion statement, in my opinion. So not too much makeup, not too much cologne, perfume. You want to be complimentary. You want to be fitting in. You don't want to be standing out at this point. So be visible, pay attention to detail, be organized. Um, you know, on your desk in your office, it's your space. You know, you want it to be set up the way you feel you work best, but you want it to be at least organized piles. You want it to be at least neat. So if someone comes in, there's a place for them to sit, and if they have to write something down, there's a place for them to write something down. So you want to make sure that your space is, um, not looking like you're months and months behind on things, either paperwork or responding to emails or whatever. You want to keep it as clean and neat and organized as you can. Um, Try to be as thorough as you can, making sure that when you send emails or any kind of um, messages or even texts, that you pay attention to spelling and grammar. You know, of course, if it's going to your boss, I would proofread it, or if need be, have someone else proofread it, because sometimes those silly mistakes are the ones that jump out at them, and especially if you do it more than once, then if you're spelling the same word wrong every time, it just doesn't look right, doesn't go over too well. So just pay attention to that. Um, Keep a calendar to help keep yourself organized. Take notes when you're in meetings, so that you have records of things. That you were told to do this and you did it. So try to take notes as best you can. And again, responding to emails and phone messages in a timely manner. You never really want to hear from your boss saying, "Oh, I wrote you 3 weeks ago and you haven't gotten back to me." I don't think that sets a nice tone. So, or any of the administrators or supervisors. So, uh, try to respond quickly as best you can. Um, and the last suggestion is try to back yourself up um, uh, with hard copies somewhere, especially if it's important paperwork. You want to make sure you have access to it and that you don't lose it. Be visible, listen up. All right, this is kind of important, folks. Way too often are we all guilty of this. We have our cell phones out, and we're waiting for the meeting to start. We're on our cell phone. When there's a break, we're on our cell phone, and when the meeting's over, we get up and we pull out our cell phone. And during the meeting, some people still have their cell phones out. Unless you're getting a message from, the Pope, the President, um, um, I don't know, whoever is really important in your world, I would try to not have them out during meetings, specifically when your boss is there or any other treatment team members, because you don't want them going back talking about how you're always on the phone. So just pay attention to that. That's not a professional image you want to have. Make sure you're paying attention, you're listening to what's being said and who's talking, and having eye contact with those people. I know this sounds all real basic, but I'm referring to the time when you're trying to hold on to your job. You want to make it appear, you want to present like you're invested in what you're doing and you're in the moment. Okay? Do not zone out in meetings. Don't sit there and make shopping lists or to-do lists or whatever. Save that for another time, when you're in the privacy of your office or somewhere, your home, your car, whatever. But I wouldn't be doing it in front of other people in meetings. You'll lose track of what's being said on a conference call, or you'll lose track of the direction in a meeting. So you want to make sure you're focused and in the moment. Be visible and speak up. You will not get credit for any idea you haven't expressed. I think that's kind of like a cool thing to say, but if you think about it, I'm sure you got a lot of creative ideas in your head. And if you're not telling anybody, then what good are they? So, speak up, share your ideas, especially if they're looking for any brainstorming, because then there's no wrong thought or comment. They're looking for any comment. So make sure you, are an active participant in your team. Try to step out of your comfort zone once in a while. volunteer for things or ask questions or just be involved. Sometimes sitting back and being quiet isn't the best thing at this time. Make sure you're making thoughtful suggestions, speaking up, be as confident as you can and diplomatic. You want to make sure you are professionally courteous to all the other disciplines. Um, I wrote here that PTs and OTs don't bite, but either do the doctors or social workers or anybody else. Your team member, you should feel confident that you should be speaking up and participating in team meetings. And whatever you have to say, speak clearly. In treatment team rounds, I always tell my interns and anybody else who would listen to me is that you should always have something to say about every patient you're responsible for. So if that means you have to take notes and bring them into the meeting ahead of time, I would suggest that. You want to be contributing something that you've worked on, you're working on, you identified as important for this person, and it might be trivial, at the moment in your mind, but if you say this person has no support systems, there's no anybody for this person to socialize with or to get around or go out into the community with, the social worker might not be aware of that, and you giving that piece of information could be helpful. So, think about how you could contribute to your team meetings and speak up more, get involved more, share your thoughts and feelings more at this time. Probably all the time, but definitely at this time when you're not sure what the job market is looking like. Also, it's a good time if you're thinking about leaving, if the market's good or something and you're thinking about leaving, you might need some references. So if people see you as an active participant, they could put that in their referral for you, their letter of recommendation that you're a good team player, that you speak up, that you're involved. You want to give them good ammunition to be able to put in the letter. So I think it's important that we be more visible. Be visible, volunteer to lead. Offer to take the lead on a project. Show you have the stomach for risk and the capacity to learn and the desire for accomplishment. Sometimes we kind of like let everybody else run the show and let everybody else, get involved, and we try to sit back, either because we are overworked or we're bored or we're not happy with the job or whatever. This is not the time to show any of that. This is the time for you to step up to the plate and get involved and be, part of the team and take the initiative. You could think about starting with a small project, and volunteer to do something with that, or maybe not co-lead, but 2 or 3 people in the department could work on something, and you should be part of that if you can. Volunteer to head a project no one wants, no competition. The idea is to demonstrate that you're committed to your agency and you're willing to do whatever they need. So you're gonna volunteer for things when necessary. I'm not saying volunteer for everything, just as you see fit into your workday and your responsibilities. But if you can, this is the time to kind of step up to the plate. And obviously, actively look for opportunities to show that you can lead. So if a meeting might be canceled because no one, the boss called in sick or something, and everybody's sitting waiting, maybe you want to take out a piece of paper and pencil and say, okay, does anybody have any issues that, we'll give the boss the list, that we'll show them that we met for a few minutes and we discussed a few things. So, kind of take the lead as far as how you could support your boss and, not waste time and, be more of a leader with the group. Obviously, if there's a senior person that's doing that or an assistant or something, I'm not telling you to do their job. I'm just saying think of times when you can step up to the plate and be a support to your boss. Be visible, a presentation. Put your communication skills on display in the workplace. I think anything like in-services or grand rounds, um, or even within your department, if you could do any kind of clinical in-service where you discuss a case, you discuss a program, or you discuss a problem. I think we need to be doing more of that. We need to get a little more clinical. Evidence-based research is really at the top of every profession is talking about that. So we should be part of that and be demonstrating those skills that we know how to do evidence-based research. Um, Definitely try to present at conferences, represent your agency, and make sure you let your agency know that you did that presentation and how it went. Maybe through an email or maybe in their newsletter, you could kind of promote, do a little personal PR. I'm not saying to brag. I'm not saying to be obnoxious about it. I'm just encouraging you to speak up and let them know that you do other things and that you are professionally involved. Be positive, talk about new interventions or techniques or any concepts that you learned, and obviously offer to share the new information with your team when you get back from a conference or a workshop or something. I think I like this one is when you find a mentor, it's kind of a two-edged sword. Find a mentor, be a mentor kind of attitude. Find someone whose advice and intelligence you respect. It would be great if it's in your agency so that you could, have someone to network with and share ideas with and kind of collaborate on problems and good things and whatever. Find someone that you can talk to. And I'm not talking like a buddy or someone that you hang out with. I'm talking about like maybe the psychologist, the social worker, one of the doctors, a nurse. Someone that will help give you a different perspective on things that you could develop a professional relationship with. Someone that you trust and that they'll be honest with you. Um, Clinical supervision is really something very important. I don't think we take it seriously. I don't think we do enough of it. I don't think people know how to look for a clinical supervisor. I don't think agencies know how to provide clinical supervision. So I'm kind of looking at mentorship as an opportunity for you to kind of find someone that you trust that you could share good things, bad things, anything that you feel are affecting your job, your thoughts, any problems you've come across, anything good that you come across, and just someone to bounce things off of. I think is a very necessary tool to have and a good resource to have. See if you get the opportunity, schedule regular meetings, seek advice on office politics. It's someone to bounce ideas off of and anything that you're not sure about. And run any ideas past your mentor. And sometimes it's even good to vent to them. It's not an opportunity to complain and be obnoxious, but it's a time to kind of find out what are your true feelings. Sometimes those feelings come out when you discuss them with someone else that you trust. So be visible, talk to your boss. Amazing how many people go out of their way to talking to their boss. If the boss's office door is closed, you tiptoe past it, hoping they don't hear you going by. I don't know if people really do any of that, but the idea is to just try to make yourself more visible. Try to develop a little chemistry at your boss so that they like you. Try to let them know who you are as a person. You don't want to go in there talking about your problems necessarily or bad things or whatever. But if you go fishing, and you did something fun over the weekend, waiting for the elevator or before a meeting starts, you could have a little conversation on a personal note to kind of build that chemistry, build that relationship. Like let's go Mets or something. You talk about something that makes that human connection. Respect your boss's preferred communication style. Sometimes they want everything in email. Sometimes they want everything face to face. Sometimes they don't want their desk to have lots of paperwork on it, so don't send them lots of notes or whatever. Try to find out what's the best way to engage with them. I think you should be as honest and true to yourself as possible. Be positive and be aware of your emotions. If you're upset about something, I think it's okay to share that. I don't think you should get mad and yelling and screaming in front of your boss. I don't think that goes over well. And if something's truly bothering you, make sure you're in good control when you get in there, so it doesn't get confused with your own personal emotions, that you get to express what you're thinking and feeling. But definitely, the idea is to communicate with them, make sure that they know who you are, connection with them. Be visible and publicize your accomplishments. Again, I'm not talking about bragging, but it's okay to toot your own horn once in a while without making too much noise. I had gotten an award back in 2015, I guess it was, and someone took pictures and sent them to me, and the people who wrote letters of recommendations handed all three of them handed me their comments. So I took the pictures, I took the award. Um, uh, what else? I took all this stuff and I brought it into a team meeting with the doctors and whatever. And I actually was just trying to have a personal conversation with the doctor about it and showing it. And he's the one who tooted my horn. He's the one who said, "Oh my God, look at this! Ray got this award," and he started passing around the award and the pictures and all. So, find out what works for you. I'm not saying to brag it. No one likes that, but it's okay to get the recognition you deserve, because sometimes they're not aware of what you're doing outside of that agency. So if something's going on, or if you had something good go well, it's okay to share it and get the recognition for it. Put something in the company newsletter is not a bad idea. Send a copy of the conference brochure. If you presented something, you could send it to your PR department, and sometimes they'll do something with it. But I think I know at Stony Brook, the medical staff, they all have lists of all their accomplishments. So I'm trying to encourage you to, whenever they do a presentation, there's a whole list that the public relations department will post about that person. So I think the only way you get it is if someone sends it to them. So I'm encouraging you to do that if you have to. Here's a bulletproof takeaway, or how to uh, target your career in a positive way, is by being visible. Won't necessarily happen overnight. So focus on what you can control. Those things like your work habits and your appearance. Okay, reach for tasks that best apply to you. Offer to attend a training or volunteer to be a leader. Get the most bang for your buck. Balance extra work that will be highly valued and visible with an extra time it will consume. So the idea is to take a different approach. Try to do something different um, than what you've been doing, so that you get a little more noticed and you get a little more professional recognition for your dedication and work for your job. Okay, be easy. Do not be a high maintenance employee. Being easy to work with is critical to bulletproof your job. Be easy to work with, easy to talk to, easy to be with. Sometimes difficult employees make a lot of noise, make trouble, and are complaining all the time. You don't want to be one of those. You don't want to be with one of those. You don't want to be associated with one of those. You want to create a very positive, healthy image, professional image that will stick with you and get you the recognition you deserve and want. So sometimes hard employees make more work for others, and they do not contribute as much as they cost. So they're the ones that are going to be let go, most likely, or at least be suggested for the chopping block. So you don't want to be on that list ever. Be easy, quit complaining. So if the office is too cold, or the computer is too slow, or anything else, try to solve the problems yourself, or go to the department secretary or whoever, the IT person, and see if you could problem solve it. See if someone can help you do it. But if you're the one that's always complaining about everything, you're going to get a bad reputation. So try to hold your complaints as a complaint to yourself. That doesn't mean that if the patients are complaining about their rooms are too cold or whatever, that you don't speak up on their behalf, because we need to be advocates for the people we work with. But you want to really think about how you come across to other people. Are you a complainer? Are you a negative Nelly kind of person? Again, try to find ways to resolve the issues without complaining about it. And believe it or not, your complaining really does contribute to, the low morale and how people see the place. Oh, no one ever listens. No one ever helps us. It's always, same thing. It was cold last year. It's a whole negative spiral you could get yourself into, and you could be the one that initiates it if you aren't careful on how you talk about it. So see how much you could problem solve on your own. Watch what you say. Bullying, ridicule, sarcasm, trash talking, joking, insults have no place at the work. At work, um, I think that should be assumed without having to be said. But I really wanted to put it on my PowerPoint in my presentation because I do hear some of that sometimes. Not a lot necessarily, but definitely the gossip and the talking about people behind their backs and all. Um, it's going to happen. I'm not saying, I just don't think you should be part of it, or definitely not the one starting it. um, so just be careful, be aware of your words, be respectful to your peers the best you can. Pay attention to what you're saying and who you're saying it to and your tone of voice. Try to be as tactful as you can. And think about, what is your role? Do you watch what you say? Have you ever made anybody cry at work? Um, how about the potty mouth? Are you someone who use a lot of curse words in conversation? I can't tell you how many times I've heard the F-bomb dropped at my job um, by anybody on the treatment team. I hear it from my office. I hear people talking in the hallway, and if I could hear it, then the patients could hear it. And I just think that's just not cool, not professional image, and I think it's so common dialogue and so commonly used that people forget, who's around and who's listening. So do pay attention to, who you're talking to and what you're saying. Um, leave your problems at home. Don't be a drama queen. Um, sometimes that's hard to do. Things are upsetting you, something bothers you, traffic, your children, I don't know, whatever. Just be aware of how you present yourself. Sharing personal problems in the workplace makes you look like one big problem. People will avoid you. Using coworkers for catharsis makes you an emotional burden. Get counseling for any serious personal issues. I'm not saying you can't, um, kvetch. I think that's the Yiddish word, kvetch. You can't, share and talk about something that's bothering you, especially if you have a close coworker or whatever. But if you're doing it on a regular basis, if you're doing it in large groups or team meetings before they start or when they end, you do look at like that person that's annoying to be around. And you don't want to have that image, especially at this time, if the job market's not good. Or if you're looking to move on, you don't want them to be writing recommendations. When you write a recommendation, they say you're not supposed to say anything negative, but if you're trying to be honest and you're trying to write a good recommendation, or a fair recommendation, I should say, you don't want them to find anything to say anything negative about you, um, uh, either verbally or in writing. So, just be careful how you present. Be easy at work. Discuss things. Don't argue. Um, is your work climate confrontational and competitive? So, listen, pay attention, try to have an easy temper, an even temper. Try not to lose it too quickly or too often. You don't want to be looked at as that person. Try to be as honest and direct as you can be, but don't be hurtful. Don't be sarcastic. You know, uh, try to be the problem solver, not the problem giver. Um, so you want to present as that team player that people enjoy being around. People don't mind having on their team, in their room, et cetera, et cetera. And if there is a problem, make sure you are civil, respectful, apologetic when necessary, and if necessary, agree to disagree. And then try to move on. But don't let your negative relationships with people, affect your attitude and your demeanor. Um, you know, with patience in meetings or on the job. So just be like that. Don't be a gossip. Um, Information that falls from the grapevine can be useful. Have the gossip. Do not be the gossip. Does everybody understand that? Have it. Kind of like, you know, if you hear it, it's in your head. I don't. I'm, I'm like everybody else. If someone's saying something, I listen, but I try not to share it. I try not to repeat it. I try not to. Um, I don't want to. Even if it's someone I don't like, I try not to spread anything bad about someone, because you never know how that's going to come back to that person, or anybody else who knows you. And might like you or might not like you. They might use that against you. So um, just be careful. Be smart about it. Try not to get involved in it the best you can. Um, Be positive. Smart, positive people are the most valuable in the workplace. They are keepers. Okay? You control your attitude. You can choose to be positive or negative. Um, Unhappy with work? Then act positive. Yes, I am encouraging you to fake it. At least until you make decisions of what you're going to do about it. If you're leaving or not leaving, or going to get therapy or not get therapy, or you know, make changes, but fake it until either you make it or you come up with another plan. Smile whether you feel it or not, because your whole demeanor is with you in meetings, in on the phone. Could even take the tone in your email. So you want to try to be as positive as you can. I'm not saying be phony, but it's okay to smile. It's okay to be nice to people. Um, of course, you want to be someone who's dependable. You want to be someone who gets work done on time. You want to be at meetings on time, and you want to produce your work in a timely fashion. You don't want to be the one who's getting written up because your progress notes are regularly late. Do your best to get them done on time. Um, Always have some follow through. If you say to someone you're going to get them a deck of cards, make sure you get them the deck of cards. If you say you're the one that's going to do something in a meeting, make sure you do it, so that you have that reputation, is that you have follow through and you're committed. Um, and as you see on that last one there, it says, be sure your boss and coworkers know they can depend on you. That's the person you want to be. Make dependability a defining trait. Be flexible. Be ready for change. Go with the flow. Don't fight things. Even if you disagree, it's okay to disagree. But in difficult times, or if you're getting ready to leave, that's not the point to. That's not the time to make a point of getting in arguments or fighting about it. Try to go with it until either you feel more comfortable, or you're able to leave, or you can make some changes. So try to problem solve. Offer to fill gaps and pitch in as needed. Um, my line is, be a team player. People like team players, so if someone needs your help, help them out. But keep in mind that whole um, standards of care and job analysis and code of ethics. Make sure that we're doing TR. Okay, if they're asking you to help bathe someone, that's not in our job description. If they're asking you to they would not they should not ever ask us to give out medication. But if you were told to, hold this medication or something, that's not us. That's not who we are, and that's not what we should be doing. So, that's not the area to be the team player. Um, if they say, if I put the medication here, can you watch it because I have to run and wash my hands? You say, I think a nurse should be watching that medicine, or whatever. You don't want to seem like you're not a team player, but you don't want to be doing things out of your scope of practice. Probably the key here is to prove that you are valuable during changing times, that you are necessary, and you're the one that they should keep. Share credit coworkers for their success, be loud and not necessarily loud, but be verbal about it, and give credit where credit's due, and hopefully the point will come about when you do something, people will be doing that for you, because they see that you're that kind of person. Be modest and generous. Say it in person, a sincere thank you. Say it in public. Say it in writing, email, letter, for personal file. So, make sure you're sharing credit where credit. Oh, sorry about that. I pressed the wrong button there. It won't be easy, so create an easygoing image the best you can. I'm not saying be phony, but think about what you possibly can do to change to get through this difficult time, or to secure your job a little bit better. And if you don't want to make the changes, then it's probably time to move on. But be aware of that. Take responsibility for that action. That maybe it's not them, maybe it is you. So do everything you must to avoid being known as a high maintenance employee. Okay, I think that's really the takeaway. Be useful. It's time to become Mr. or Mrs. Above and Beyond. Again, I trying to encourage you to help secure your job when the market is not right. I'm not saying that we should be doing this every day all the time, but when you're concerned about losing your job, then you need to take some action on securing your job. And these are just some thoughts and comments that I put together. Does not mean that you need to work more hours, but just actively look for ways to do more. Because what you're trying to do is to show how useful you. Okay, before I was talking about, find a mentor. Well, be a mentor. Companies offer job training, but not necessarily ongoing job support. Do not have a senior staff to be a mentor. Just need to know the ropes and have experience. Be a mentor for yourself. Plant seeds of influence will grow and become valuable to you over time. So that means networking is important. Who can you hang out with? Who can you share your ideas with? You want people to recognize your good skills and your involvement. Simple guidelines: keep things informal, meet regularly, and keep it professional. Don't necessarily go out, it's not buddy time. This is someone that you're going to try to find that's going to help you professionally, that you're going to help professionally, that you're going to be helping. So you want to, keep it job related, work related, office related. So be a utility player. Kind of mentioned this already. Be a jack of all trades. Be capable of filling in at a number of areas. Must be careful not to be taken advantage of. It is a fine balance for CTRS. For the longest time, I had been found to be the person who fixed the pool sticks. Do I want to be looked at as the person who fixed the pool sticks? I think anybody could fix pool sticks. It doesn't take Ray Archer to do it. Anybody could do it. But you know what? I wanted to be a team player, so I allowed that to be one of my tasks that I do. It takes a few moments every month to check the pool sticks and make sure the tips are secured, and to take away the ones that aren't. and I've been doing it for a few years. It's not my greatest, proudest moment, but it's something I do to help out the department. So I just think you should keep that in mind. Um, do you assist with the feeding program? Um, when I write this, I specifically, I'm not saying you should be feeding anybody, but if they need help, sometimes when they're short staffed or whatever, or you by you offering, what can I do to help out? Again, not saying to feed, but maybe sometimes pushing the trays, the cart closer to the rooms or something. If you had the time, if you have, if it's convenient for you to help out and be part of things, figure out ways that you can be more helpful and more visual within your department. Do you drive the van to Lowe's for the maintenance staff? These are things I don't necessarily think are rec therapy jobs, but if your boss asks you or needs you to go pick something up at Lowe's or Home Depot for the department, well then yes, be the person who jumps in and helps out instead of waiting for the maintenance staff to go do it. Um, does that make sense? I hope that clarifies things. I'm not encouraging you to become part of maintenance. That's not what I'm saying. Do you watch the pool during open swim? Well, you know, I don't necessarily think, if you are not certified lifeguard, I would not encourage that on any level. But if someone has to go to the bathroom or something, and you want to be a team player and help out, ask the question: am I allowed to do that? What can I do to help? Do you want me to go get someone so you could go to the bathroom, or to get you a drink or something? Let me get you. I want to go get some soda from the machine. You know, say stay there. I'll go get it for you. You know what I'm saying? Try to help out where you can. Be a specialist. Yes, be a generalist and a specialist. Yeah, I'm asking you to do everything. Why? Because I want you to keep your job. Get some advanced training or additional certifications. Deepen your knowledge base and skills. Okay, for example, computer skills. But the whole list of skills is very long. um, not just computer skills. There are many things that you could become more skillful at. Um, NCTRC has a specialty certification in behavioral health and geriatric, et cetera, et cetera. So check that out. There's a certified ropes course instructor. There's uh, certified lifeguard, certified CPR instructor. If you take the initiative and get these things and put on your resume, not only will it benefit your job, but it'll also benefit other. Um, it'll benefit your department. So if someone's out sick, you could fill in if you get these extra certifications. So aquatic therapy, exercise, wilderness first aid, certified addictions counselor, anything that's going to make you kind of a specialist or help out any time. And again, you're going to take that job. So take the initiative. Requires motivation, courage, and confidence. One of the best ways to bulletproof your job is answer a ringing phone and don't care that it is not part of my job. Now, you're not going to become the receptionist or the operator or the secretary. You're just helping out. If you walk by you're leaving somewhere and the phone's ringing and there's no one around, you're helping out. Raise your hand to volunteer, present at in-services, collect QA data, attend a meeting for someone. These are ways to be helpful. But always think about supporting your boss. Even if you don't really like him or her, it's really best to have a positive relationship with them. It goes back to having good chemistry with your boss. Know how your boss operates, what they like and what they don't like. Shape your work habits to reflect that. Adapt to your boss's style. They shouldn't have to adapt to your style. You adapt to their style. And always support your boss in public. That goes a long way. It gets feedback to them, and it makes you look good. So Never backstab your boss. Yeah, not a good idea, folks. That will always get back to them, and that could cost you your job. So be careful what you say. Okay, being useful takes commitment and might require you to leave your comfort zone. Puts you in a do mode. Um, Look around your workplace and see all that needs to be done. Now, bulletproof your job by being that one, by being the one your boss sees doing it. All right. I think if you work in a department of 4 or 5 people and you're the one that's always volunteering, and you're going to get the positive recognition, and um, uh, they'll remember that when time comes, especially if they have any, when it comes to giving out extra bonus money. I don't know anywhere else, but I know at Stony Brook they have a little fund that they can give a percentage to employees. So you want to be one of the ones that gets that extra income and recognition that you did the extra. Be ready. The first three strategies related to protecting your job. Being ready focuses on long-term maintenance of your career. It's where short-term goals keep your job, and long-term goals advance your career intersect. Being ready gives you confidence and helps you to not panic during difficult and uncertain times. I think that makes sense, right? If you're ready for it, then you're in go mode, you're in motion, you're prepared. So you don't have to worry about, oh, what do I have to do? What am I going to do? Um, Here, I spoke to a financial advisor before this presentation, so this is what they're suggesting these days: to have money in the bank when times are tough, when the job market's not so great, and you're worried about being let go or something. They recommend 6 months worth of living expenses in liquid savings. What does that mean? So if you're over 40, 1 year of expenses in savings. If you're over 50, 2 years of expenses and savings. I have to tell you, I find that a little hard to do. I don't have that kind of money, but it made me very aware when I got this information of um, what it is you need to secure, especially with COVID and all that went down. I don't think a lot of people were prepared to be out of work that long. Um, Definitely not. So you need to be better prepared. So think of those numbers and how you could work that into your income and your lifestyle. Okay, maybe it's not going to be exactly like this. This is their suggestion. So why is it important? Because it gives you options. It gives you confidence. Gives you a little security, right? Allows you to speak up when necessary. Allows you to do your job. Uh, Allows you to do your job, not keep your job. Okay. Keep your resume current. Update it regularly so you don't forget to include some things important. The presentation you made 11 months ago, okay, that should be on your resume. Allow you to pursue other opportunities quickly as they arise. I'd be happy to apply for the job. Give me some time to update my resume. Um, if your resume is updated, you just say, let me send it to you. You know, share your updated resumes with your boss during annual performance review. Many facilities encourage that. Even if your agency doesn't encourage it, I would do it anyway. It reminds your boss all your skills and all your capabilities. So make it part of your yearly evaluation. When you sit down, be ready to hand it to them. If they put it in your file or not, at Stony Brook they do. But if they don't do it at your place, at least they know you have certain skills. And if they don't remember them, they're looking at them at this time. And a CTRS might also want to consider developing a professional portfolio. What does that mean? That means a portfolio, usually a professional portfolio looks at things, your accomplishments, not just your resume per se, but anything that you initiated, you started, uh, committee work that you did, any research or interventions or anything that you initiated, you have it in print or online so that it's easily accessible for people to know all the things that you did. Um, Network. Put yourself in a position to meet and get to know people. Put your face with a name. Put your face with a name. Okay. Don't just collect business cards at a conference. Get to know someone. Okay, that's kind of important. And if you do get a business card, which is pretty popular at conferences, I would write down on the back of it how you met them and something about them so you don't forget, so that if they call you or you call them, you have it right there on the card. I don't do this as often as I'd like to, but I have tried it a few times to follow up with a nice to meet you email, or even ask the person to lunch. And I do that not just necessarily with people who can help me, but those who I can help. I think I help. I like the idea of the ladder, and you help people on the way up, and hopefully they can help people behind them on the way up, and you never know when you're going to need vice versa. So keep those relationships positive and nurtured. Weed, feed, and seed your network to keep it fresh. And how do you build a network? How do you get a network to going? Is to go to conferences, folks. Get involved. Get yourself on a committee. Every one of our professional organizations need help. They're nonprofit. They are volunteer positions, and they all need it. The local ones, the state ones, and the national organizations all need your professional help. And the same people always seem to step up to the plate and do something. If you haven't in a while, try to find some time, because while your agency or the job market might not be so good, someone on a committee might know information about another job, or might be leaving, and you might be able to apply for their job. You never know where you're going to get your information from. So professional conferences and professionally networking is a very smart idea. So join a committee, either at work or in a professional organization, but get involved. They need you, and you need them, because if they're not around, guess what, folks? We're not going to have conferences. We're not going to have job boards or job markets. We're not going to have all the good things that we get out of these professional organizations. So be active in professional associations, a little bit more of the same. Get you away from work. Meet professional peers. This helps to keep your work and career in perspective. Others face the same challenges as you, so you can kind of, I'm not going to say kvetch. Yeah, I probably sound Yiddish, don't I? You get to talk and share, and unburden some of the negativity you have when you get to talk about things and kind of put things in perspective. Good way to bulletproof your career is keep up with the industry gossip. Who is hiring? Who is expanding? Who's retiring? Etc. Etc. Do not let lack of time and energy be an excuse. So look at all the professional organizations. Even NCTRC, believe it or not, has volunteer committees and a volunteer board, and all these associations. You might not realize it, but they need you. A couple of them, without mentioning names, are in jeopardy of staying active and staying available to you, because people aren't stepping up to the plate and helping out and being a committee member and a chair of a conference or whatever. We need to start thinking of what we can do to keep our profession alive and professional and growing. Be ready, make presentations. Best way to get your name out there is to make a presentation. Nothing screams bulletproof more than your name at the head of the room at a conference. Co-present with someone who might be an experienced presenter, could help you. The idea is to just do it. Just start small, but do it. Remember to continue education. Education means going to workshops, conferences, and getting an advanced degree. Get a master's degree in something that complements therapeutic recreation, maybe an MBA or healthcare administration, public administration, counseling, maybe take a class or two online, attend ATRA webinars, Zoominars. ATRA is really one of our greatest resources, and do you know, I don't know the exact number, but let's say it's 9,000. I think it's high like that, like 9,000 certified therapeutic recreationists. Do you know how many people are ATRA members? I think the number is like 2,000. There's something wrong there. I really probably should have had my facts before I stated it like that, but it's really incredibly wrong that we don't support our national organization. If you ask how many OTs support their professional organization, I don't know anybody who doesn't. I don't know one OT that doesn't support their national organization. I know people say it's too expensive to join ATRA or any of these professional organizations. But you know what? Put your money where your mouth is. If you want the job security, you need to be supporting your organizations that can help you keep your job by going to conferences and telling you about job marts and giving you the creative ideas, programming ideas and all. So conferences really are extremely beneficial to rec therapists, and we need to make sure they continue. But they're only going to continue if you get involved. I added this to the to the presentation. It is about ATRA. I don't get any commission. I don't get anything. I just think I want them. This is a very old application. I post this because you can see the prices. I don't think they've gone up much since this flyer was made. I couldn't find anything in print to put in my presentation, so I grabbed this and want to show you. There's even a student rate. So I think they're the organization to support and be part of. But again, support them. Support as many as you can. They all need you, state, local, and national. And last but not least, I found a really nice article. Came out in 2017 about how to make a good living as a recreational therapist. And there's just a few suggestions, and it's part of it's many things that I've talked about in this presentation, but some things are said better than I did, and some of it just did. So here's a 2-page article. Nothing heavy reading, light reading. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you